To my clock, it is now 9 a.m. and I'm going to ask if we'll stand for invocation and pledge of allegiance. Bow in an attitude of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the night of rest. Thank you for this beautiful day in Washington County. Lord, lead, guide, and direct each one of us as we strive to serve and to serve others by serving, representing so many in our community. Lord, direct us and guide us. May we honor and please you in all that we do and say. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning again, and I'll call our meeting May 21st officially to order. And with that, may we approve the minutes of May 7th.
Approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Commissioners' reports and comments. Mr. Wagner, you want to go first?
Good morning. Welcome all. There's a lot going on. You'll hear it here, I'm sure, from most of the commissioners that what all has been taking place in the community. It's just a busy month of May, and there's a lot more to come. Camp Harding celebrated their 50th anniversary. I was able to attend, and they dedicated a park bench, and it was just, to recognize all the history and the serenity of Camp Harding. If you haven't been there, you ought to stop up. Hagerstown Startup Week yesterday kicked off at HCC. It runs, I think, for the next 3 days until end day Wednesday, I believe. It's for entrepreneurs. It's business help. It's guidance. It's a bundle of seminars for to help you establish yourself in the community and add to the community with your businesses or your ideas. John Fry Awards also took place this week. Congratulations to Layman's Mill, Spielman Road Farm, and Fort Ritchie. John Krumpovich, Fort Ritchie's done a wonderful job. They recognize the museum. It just opened. He's taken building by building. And if you haven't been up to Fort Ritchie, take a ride up there because it's amazing. It's also very scenic and peaceful up there. Big deal was the groundbreaking for Meritus for the housing for the doctors for the new training hospital. They had that this past week. We attended, and it's quite a project. I forget how many housing, but eventually it'll be like 900 units, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Their goal is to have an 800 students first opening and 80 staff members. Budget hearing was last week. Went well. We had, I was trying to keep tally, maybe 14 people that spoke. And we appreciate everybody who did show up there at the new training center and took part in their input into our budget. Character counts. Carolyn Brooks did another wonderful job. Character counts, recognizing the fifth graders who were nominated from all the middle schools or elementary schools. Yeah, elementary schools. And kudos to the kids that excel and all the kids that participate and all the kids that were nominated and the families who support them. That's a big deal. The families were all there and they're highly supportive of them. And thank you, Carolyn, and your staff for doing that every year. And I think the last but not least was the grand opening of Meritus Park, which is the stadium down the street here. Big hoopla there this past Friday. They're enjoying nice crowds, averaging rank 3,500. And if you haven't stopped by, I'll stop by there and take a tour of the stadium, whether you're a baseball fan or not. It's something to see. That's it for me.
Okay. Mr. Kiefer?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to thank staff for helping to organize last week's public budget hearing. I know out of necessity we had to change the location, and nothing against HCC, but I really preferred the location at the Public Safety Training Center. I think good way to showcase one of the county's own buildings and an important need that it provides in our community for training public servants in the public safety field. So appreciate that. One thing I wanted to clarify, since we held it at the Public Safety Training Center, there was a comment that was made that that building wouldn't have been possible if not for the tax increase that was implemented a couple years ago. And just, I find it amazing that I may have the second longest length of institutional knowledge on this board, uninterrupted, but that's just not the case, actually, and I think it's important to note, if you look over the funding sources for that, we actually started to save, so to speak, for the training center in fiscal year 2017. It wasn't until fiscal year 2020 that a tax increase went into effect, and of the funding, about a third came from speed camera revenue, which was also controversial at the time, but something I supported. About a third from speed camera revenue, a couple million from state and donations or state contributions and donations, a donation campaign that was had for that building. Maybe one of the first times we put forward a donation campaign for one of our own county buildings outside of raising taxes, of course. And bonds issuance made up the largest chunk of the funding that went into the Public Safety Training Center. So just want to make clear that that project was well underway to be completed a couple budget cycles before a tax increase went into effect. So I just, it's a great building nonetheless, regardless of how it was paid for. I just want to say it's a great building. And again, it's good that we can showcase it for whether it's the budget cycle or any other meeting that we could have. I think we should showcase that every opportunity we can. That's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, President Barr, and I'm not going to repeat the events that Randy went over, and just going to highlight a few that I think are important. I'll start with the upcoming event. Memorial Day weekend, we've got, parades in Sharpsburg, which begins at 2 o'clock, and Boonesboro on Sunday, which begins at 1 o'clock. So Saturday in Sharpsburg, Memorial Day Parade, Sunday in Boonesboro, Memorial Day Parade. I want to thank all the election workers in Barry Jackson and the board that oversees the county elections for their good work. Everything went very smoothly. I didn't hear of any real problems, and everyone was pleased with the early voting sites as well as the way things were run on Election Day. And congratulations to everyone who survived through the primary. Last week, the Commission on Aging had its annual event, highlighted what it had done in programs and went over resources and the importance of the Commission on Aging. And we had speakers from the State Commission on Aging and others showing up there to contribute to that event. It was supported and a good turnout. We also had the Peace Officer Memorial event last week, commemorating the fallen police officers in Washington County, and that includes the city and state troopers, and it goes way back 100 years, more than 100 years, recounting those fallen officers. And it's a testament to our law enforcement community that does so much for us, and it is earned, that memorial service. There have been a lot of concerts, end-of-year concerts at schools and graduations, too many to go through. Just a note to some people, the Maryland GOP State Convention was held here in Hagerstown on Saturday, an all-day event that was well attended by the Republican Party from across the state, and it's good to see a convention here in the city. Last night, the Maryland Municipal League met in Hancock, good turnout. And the last thing I want to mention, you can talk about the Wholesome Cement Factory, okay, but we're going to have 2 text amendments today on convenience stores and truck stops. And I just want to remind everyone that has been paying attention to this that the Exit 1 convenience store, truck stop, whatever you want to call it, that is in the design stage for Exit 1 by the Bowman Corporation is a done deal. And these two text amendments are not related to that. The legal counsel that I've asked for, both from our county staff, county attorney's office, county zoning, as well as outside legal entities, that's a done deal. So these two text amendments do not impact that development that's already underway at Exit 1. That's grandfathered in. They're too far along in the process. So I just want to make that point very clear, because we had a good representation from the community. Barbara Hovermill and others, very active in that community, trying to protect their interests and understand that. But these two text amendments are separate entities. And with that, I will close it out, Mr. President.
Mr. Klein?
You have a long list, a busy week. First of all, I want to thank everybody involved with the budget hearing that we had. The training center was spit shined and ready to display, and I agree with Commissioner Kiefer. I think that's the best place to have it, not only to expose the use and value of that building, but I think parking is easier for everyone instead of climbing up the hill and the steps. So I want to make sure everyone who was involved in that has my thanks. I also attended the Police Week.
They can't, you need your microphone.
Thank you. I also attended the Police Week Memorial Service, and part of the ceremony was a tribute to the late Judge Wilkinson, a very heartfelt and well-meaning ceremony for all those officers who paid the ultimate sacrifice. I also attended the Character Accounts event at HCC. Each year, Carolyn Brooks does a great job, and many of the students need to be thanked. I want to, for the record, single out Finley Chambers, who represented Emma K. Dowd. Her grandmother is my cousin, and Carla is a retired administrative person from the education system. We are very proud of Finley. I, too, attended the John Fry Awards, and congratulations to all those award winners that Commissioner Wagner mentioned. I attended the groundbreaking for Meritus Commons. Again, is the housing units for the students to be learning there to soon to become doctors. I also attended the May Chamber Networking Bash across the street that day of the Meritus groundbreaking at Patriot Federal Credit Union. They mentioned they may be opening up another branch here in Washington County. Not a lot of details, but he hinted, the president of the bank hinted that during his conversation. I also attended the Police Week luncheon at the Sheriff's Department. I want to thank the sheriff and his staff for having us out there, also to be around his officers and deputies to know that we appreciate them. I, too, attended the Commission on Aging annual membership meeting. It was nice to sit there and talk to some of the members I hadn't seen for a while. I, too, attended the Wholesome Cement ceremony where they announced and did a tour of some of the major upgrades they did to be environmental friendly to our community. And I also attended the Clear Spring FFA annual meeting up in Clear Spring for their FFA annual membership and presidential election. They had the president of the FFA for Maryland there, a young man from Brunswick. And somewhere in the middle of that, I left to go to the Meritus Park opening. I did not get there in time to see former Governor Hogan give the speech and talk about the success of that stadium. I did also attend HCC graduation on Saturday. Over 340 graduates, over 3,000 people in attendance. It was a very positive event. HCC makes a major contribution to this community, and to see all the parents and grandparents and families there in pride as their favorite student across the stage was very rewarding. Last night, I also attended the MML meeting in Hancock. I want to single out Ella Falk. She was the scholarship winner by the Washington County chapter, so congratulations to her. And yesterday, I did attend part of the Hagerstown startup ceremony at HCC, And to end on a sad note, I'm going to give my condolences to the family of Alan Swope, a former state trooper. I believe he was the barracks commander. He passed this week, and I've known him for a very long time. I went to school with one of his sons, and just a heartfelt acknowledgement in our records of the contribution Alan had made as a police officer in this county. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. As you can tell, the past week has been extremely busy. On top of many of these venues and events, two that weren't mentioned that I also attended, one of which was the annual local Salvation Army banquet called Ray of Hope. It was held last Thursday evening, well attended, and I'm looking here. They had a former player, Jamel McLean, Baltimore Ravens, was the guest speaker, and was well attended, and it was a very nice evening. So, also that same evening, I left and made a token visit, Conductor Circle for the Maryland Symphony Orchestra, held at the Grow Mansion, and it was basically a fundraiser to continue to help keep the Maryland Symphony and conductor Elizabeth Schultz here, based in Hagerstown at the Maryland Theater, and this will be Elizabeth Schultz's 25th year as conductor of our local symphony. So hats off to them. And once again, a lot of activities. And I see the sheriff is here this morning. I thought the memorial service for Police Week was absolutely phenomenal, well orchestrated, well put together, very honoring. And again, as Commissioner Klein had mentioned, it was centered around paying honor to the Wilkinson family. Many of the family were there, and it was very touching. So continue to keep them in our prayers as time moves on. So with that, moving into this upcoming week, as you've heard, there's a number of things this weekend, several things that haven't been mentioned. There's a grand opening of the Bookmobile this morning, unfortunately, at 10 a.m. over on South Potomac Street near the library. Unfortunately, we will not be able to be in attendance. We'll here in our meeting. CVB annual membership meeting and luncheon is tomorrow, the 22nd at Meredith Park. Fire and Rescue Academy graduation is tomorrow, 5 p.m. at the Boyd J. Michael Technical High School. Grand opening of Top Secret Tap Room is Thursday up at Fort Ritchie. The 58th Hicks Tuckerman American History Award and Merit Scholarship Dinner is this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Homewood Suites. Mentioned the Boonesboro Memorial Parade this Sunday. Unveiling of the Jonathan Street marker. Asbury United Methodist Church next week, May 30th. And WCCC legislative session debrief with lobbyist John Fazio. Friday, May 31st at 7:30 at the Merle Elliott Center. So that's just some of the activities the next week, 10 days. Anything else we've missed, gentlemen? Very busy week. With that, we'll move into staff comments. First up is Sheriff Albert.
Good morning, Sheriff Ryan Albert, Washington County Sheriff's Office. I'd be remiss not to mention Father Steve McCarty that puts on the memorial service, and FOP 88 and Chuck Kaufman. They're integral in putting that service together for the last few years. And it's outgrown the church in Clear Spring and moved to Hagerstown, so it was a touching ceremony. So I'm here today for approval to hire 3 overlapping sworn deputies. We currently have 10 qualified candidates to hire for the upcoming academy on June the 17th. I project with history that the sheriff's office will have 3 to 5 retirements/separations by the graduation in February. So it would keep us at our cap.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. Next item is Chip Rose.
Morning, Commissioners. Chip Rose, Director of Human Resources. I only have one item for you today. Your fiscal analyst is set to retire on August 31st, 2024. Staff is requesting permission to advertise and pre-hire the fiscal analyst position, which is a grade 12 step forward, a salary of $58,240.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item is Don Marcus, appointments.
Good morning, Commissioners. On behalf of the Washington County Agricultural Education Center Advisory Board, I am requesting a motion to appoint Brenda Nichols to serve a first full 3-year term from May 1st of 2024 through April 30th of 2027. This is not a paid board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
And also on behalf of the Washington County Agricultural Education Center Advisory Board, I am requesting a motion to appoint Kevin Smoot to serve a first full 3-year term from May 1st of 2024 through April 30th of 2027.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Is that it? Okay. Okay, next up is Zach Kiefer. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Today, I'm requesting a motion to appoint Mary Lee Kearns to serve on the Washington County Ethics Commission. The County Attorney's Office called Ms. Kearns and confirmed she is available and willing to serve. This is not a paid board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, Michelle Gordon.
Thank you. It's Public Works Week, and I'd like to thank all of our Public Works employees for their service to our community. They tirelessly work to ensure that our roads, our water and sewer plants, our facilities, that all of those things are operational. Much of what they do goes unnoticed, and I greatly appreciate all that they do to ensure that our community is vibrant, healthy, and safe. I'd also like to echo some of the comments from our commissioners, and I'd like to thank Kelsey Mace, our Chief Financial Officer, Kim Edlund, our Director of Budget and Finance, employees at the Public Safety Training Center and our Public Relations Office for setting up and for their presentation of the fiscal year 25 budget hearing. They did an incredible job. I attended the 2024 John Fry Awards. I also attended the ribbon cutting ceremony at Wholesome Hagerstown Cement Plant. I attended the groundbreaking ceremony for student housing at Meritus Medical School. I attended the Police Week Employee Appreciation Luncheon at Washington County Sheriff's Office. I'd also like to thank Sheriff Albert and his staff for the invitation and for the food and camaraderie. I attended the Meritus Park grand opening ceremonies. I also attended the graduation ceremony for graduates at University System of Maryland Hagerstown campus on Saturday. And I attended the Hagerstown Startup Week at HCC. We do not have a meeting next week. Our next meeting is June the 4th, and I'd like to make sure all of our employees enjoy the Memorial Day weekend that's coming up. Please be safe and have a good time. That's everything that I have.
Thank you, Michelle. Next up is citizens' participation. Yes, sir. Good morning, Dave.
Dave Williams, 11 West Water Street in Smithsburg. Before I begin my prepared remarks, let me apologize if my remarks at the public hearing confused anyone. I did not say that the Public Safety Training Center was paid for by the tax increase. I believe, or at least what I meant to say, was that the training center, along with the tax increase, both exemplified the commissioner's dedication to public safety. Congratulations, commissioners. County revenues continue to grow year after year. The revenue pie is getting bigger, and you've been able to increase spending on many important county priorities. But for schools, as the revenue pie has gotten larger, their slice has gotten smaller. In FY 2021, WCPS received 43.7% of the general fund budget. In '22, it was 42%. '23, 41.6%. '24, 38.8%, and for '25, the slice of the revenue pie is down to 36.6%. After the budget hearing last week, the newspaper quoted Commissioner Klein as saying, quote, "What I heard tonight was everybody has needs, including us, and there's not enough money to go around and meet those needs with this current economy and inflation and pressure on services," unquote. I agree. Even with the revenue pie getting larger, the county still has needs, and there's not enough money to go around. But you can change that. Commissioner Wagner was also quoted, quote, "We don't know what's coming from Annapolis. We're sort of sitting and waiting and see what it does to our revenues. I think we're just treading cautiously right now to see where it goes," unquote. I get it. There's uncertainty. We've been treading cautiously for the last couple years, worrying about the recession that never came and worrying about inflation that's slowly inching downward. We worried about what happens after the federal stimulus grants run out. We worry about Annapolis raising taxes. We worry about the possible end of the disparity grant. The only thing you can be certain of is that the needs of the county will continue to grow. And without your action, those needs will continue to be unmet. As I've said to you before, the only good time to raise taxes is when there are good reasons. This year, you have good reasons, just as you had good reasons back in 2019. According to the paper, Commissioner Klein said, quote, "There's lots of people who don't want us to raise taxes," unquote. Guess what? There will always be people saying that. And there were back in 2019. That doesn't mean it's not necessary for the future well-being of the county. Raising taxes takes leadership and political courage. 2 of you voted to raise taxes in 2019, and both of you were reelected and continue to serve. At other meetings, I've talked to you about the state disparity grant. However, the disparity grant alone is not the reason to raise taxes. The additional revenue that comes from the disparity grant is a bonus that comes from doing the right thing. Please do the right thing and raise the local income tax rate.
Second row, Dr. Michael.
Morning, President Barr, Commissioners. Boyd Michael, 9100 Mapleville Road, just for another couple days. Today, when I get things in my head and I can't let them go and I can't do anything about them, I feel like I need to share. And that's the purpose of being here today. So I have 2 items I'd like to share quickly. In my retirement days, I've had the opportunity to join a group called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Their motto is, "No child sleeps on the floor in our town." I didn't know anything about this organization. Someone knew that I had the skill set to do a little bit of woodworking, and I help on Thursday nights before the bed build, where each month they build between 40, 50, 60 beds for children in Washington County that don't have a bed. They get a new mattress, new linens, pillow, blanket, as well as the bed itself. I'm challenged by that as I think about we have children in Washington County that don't have a bed to sleep in. I had the opportunity to visit and drop off some beds here a couple months ago, and I was shocked to go in some of the rooms. Not only do the children don't have a bed, they don't have a dresser. They're using a box, a cardboard box to store their clothes. And I'm just challenged by that. I had the opportunity also to serve on your grants committee, where obviously people that are seeking the grants are putting forward their, I guess it's their best foot or their worst foot, I'm not sure how, but the statistics that justify their grant. And I was really taken back to read the narrative of all those grants. It probably took me 20, 25 hours to read those grant applications that you later approved. But it's troubling to me to hear about homelessness, incarceration, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, children abuse, spouse abuse, obesity, health issues, food insecurities, and the list goes on and on and on. If we're going to be a community that we enjoy to live, work, and play, we need to include all people in our community. I think there's so many good things, and a lot of them are mentioned here today of things that you've just attended in the last week. There are so many good things happening in Washington County, but it's only happening to about half of our community. The other half of our community is struggling, and we need to find a way to address that. So I challenge the board to come up with that. The second item, I know I'm going to run out of time if I'm not quick here, is I believe there's a crisis in the making. I've seen it coming for a couple years. It's the teacher shortage. It is very, very real, and it is going to have a devastating effect upon our children in the future. Obviously, you know that I worked for the county for 42 years. I never cared about the school system itself, for the people necessarily. I love the people, but it wasn't about the people. It wasn't about employment. It was about our children. It's the only reason the school system exists. Without superstar teachers, teachers more than just being qualified, teachers that effectively can move children forward in their academic skills, in their social emotional well-being, their physical well-being, in creating a well-rounded citizen. Without those types of teachers, the first part of what I shared, I fear will grow. Our community will suffer as a result of not having highly qualified, effective teachers in the classroom. Much like a coach that just takes the students that show up, the athletes that show up, those people that can turn that into a team and be effective by the end of the year, regardless of whether they win or lose, an effective teacher does the same thing. We have to find a way to address this teacher crisis. Last year, I challenged the board to put all their money into salaries. I got into the game late. I didn't realize how quickly the budget was moving. I should have after all those years. But maybe I was too late to make that recommendation. I wrote the board again this year to increase salaries substantially. We have ESP jobs that are unfilled and go unfilled. 30, 40 of the same jobs go unfilled. We have administrators that are leaving us to go to Frederick County for an easier job, less hours, and $15,000 to $20,000 more in pay. All these things need to be addressed. I think the school system needs to play a role, and I would encourage this board to play a role, even if it means holding the school system more accountable for academic achievement and for their budget as well. But it does require more money, and this is a crisis that we will pay for long-term if the teacher shortage in particular is not addressed. Thank you for the additional time.
Row 3. Row 4. Row 5, top row.
I think Tom's coming down.
Hello, Commissioners. I had two items.
Can you give us your name?
My name is Tom Thorson. I live in Washington County, Ideal Circle. And I'm speaking as a private citizen and not as a member of the Commission on Aging Advisory Council. I was asked by the Commission on Aging not to speak out publicly, so I want to emphasize I'm not a spokesman for the Commission on Aging. As a baby boomer and a retired senior operations manager of a Fortune 500 company with responsibilities in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, I'm here to advocate for our senior citizens. I'm not asking for more funding from the county. Rather, I'm focused on how we, as nonprofits and the county government, can work more efficiently to serve our seniors, reduce costs, and create revenues on our own. Over a year ago, at a meeting with Commissioner Kiefer, the board president, and the CEO of the Commission on Aging, I presented numerous ideas on reducing costs and increasing revenues. The board tabled the 14 proposals without a yay or nay vote, and I'm still waiting for a response a year later. Due to the Commission on Aging board's inaction, even considering these ideas with a vote, many opportunities were missed to save money and improve senior services for the seniors over the past 12 months. Some of you attended the Commission on Aging's annual plan presentation last Friday, where one of Governor Moore's priorities was cross-sector collaboration between organizations. There are many great organizations in the county that support our seniors in various ways. While I often see these organizations collaborating to provide services, I rarely see them collaborating financially. Perhaps these charities could leverage each other's back office functions or even the county resources to absorb some of their back office expenses, such as accounting, legal, maintenance, purchasing, IT, capital assets, and shared space. This financial collaboration could save significant funds based on my experience merging companies. I'm optimistic the county could absorb some of these additional duties without needing more employees. For example, two charities in Washington County with similar synergies are currently in financial crisis and unable to meet the needs of their clients. Washington County Commission on Aging and the Community Action Council. Both CEOs were at the public hearing on the county budget asking for more funds. As per their publicly available IRS filings pre-COVID, their budgets were $3 million and $6 million. When we look at the combined salaries and benefits of the CEOs of these two organizations today, it's around $300,000 total. Adding the salaries and the benefits of the CFO's total costs are likely closer to $500,000. That's a hell of a lot of extra meals for Meals on Wheels. The commissioners could take the bold step of encourage the Commission on Aging and the Community Action Council to financially integrate their organizations or have the county take over the back office duties. I urge the commissioners to reach out to both the Community Action Council and the Commission on Aging Board to explore these ideas mergers. I cannot support the county providing any additional funds to these organizations until these ideas are thoroughly examined. This isn't complicated, as some counties already handle back office tasks now, and others have even merged these two organizations. What do we have to lose just to investigate these ideas? In closing, I'm sure you will face pressure from the legal counsel of some of these organizations to increase funding in the coming weeks. Please hold your ground on additional funding until every avenue and reduced cost is explored. While these are tough times for nonprofits, they must, like the private sector, take drastic actions, reduce their costs while substantially increasing service for the clients. And one more, 30 seconds. I support the county raising the state income tax, although it may not be necessary to reach the maximum of 3.2% to secure more state disparity grants. Additionally, you may want to consider lowering only the residential real estate rate to lessen the burden on residents while maintaining the commercial industrial real estate rates the same. Increasing the personal tax rate shouldn't deter corporate businesses, as I believe they are subject to a different code and are currently pay 8.5%. The county might find a balance that allows our school districts to receive additional funds. Thank you for your time.
Okay. We're still in citizens' participation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Teresa Peak. I'm the Executive Director of the Elder Group. We are a nonprofit organization here in Hagerstown community. We've been here since 2019. We have not been broad recognized out in the community, but we have been working out in the community for our seniors on their behalf in whatever capacity they're needed. To tell a little about the Elder Group, We are 501c3 nonprofit organization started in 2019 by my brother and I. We started in Norfolk, Virginia, and we moved to Maryland because I'm here. I relocated here in 2016. I was working with the military at the time. I was a case manager assisting survivors of fallen soldiers. I was a civilian contractor, so when the contract ended, I noticed that it wasn't not a lot of services for seniors with limited income or no income. Last year in 2023 was our highest rate of calls from Meritus Hospital Care Management. Our seniors are displaced and they use our emergency services for transportation to the hospital for warmth, for shelter. So we have a lot of calls from the hospitals trying to find housing for our seniors. The Elder Group started out as a professional development organization teaching on elder abuse, and we started out as a safe haven when the police call us for persons who allegations of abuse. That's how we started, but we broadened now to trying to find housing for our seniors with limited or no income or disabilities. We work in partnership with the Adult Protective Services now. We are partnered with the Homeless Coalition, the Sheriff's Department, and like I said earlier, the care management of Meritus Hospital. What I'm here for today is we're out in the community, and we also, on Fridays, we serve meals to the homeless and our seniors. Last year in 2023, and I personally cook the meals because we don't have a staff, so I'm a one-man show right now. We're looking to broaden down the line to hire other persons for the organization, but right now it's me, and I refuse to turn any seniors away in their need. So last year, I prepared, boxed up, and gave to a community person to deliver 7,180 meals. So that's how many meals I cooked last year. Right now, we're standing at 2,800 meals that I've prepared so far for our seniors. Our goal is not to let anyone go hungry. We have a lot of food services out here in the community, but our general population that we serve are persons with, like I said, little to no income. And we get calls from Adult Protective Services adding people daily to our list. You know, they call and said this person is in need. So we're out here, and our goal right now, our main goal is to find a commercial kitchen in a building for storage. We have a lot of donations. People have found that we're out in the community helping our seniors, so we have a lot of people who relatives, seniors passed away, and they call and they want to donate a whole lot of items to the Elder Group. So now we have a lot of, and we donate a lot to the free clinic, like wheelchairs, walkers, and things like that, because we don't have places to store all those things. But we do have adult diapers, bed pads, and any other needs that a senior need. Right now, we're housing in my garage, but we need a facility to house those things. And we also need a commercial kitchen. That is our main goal right now. We do have our first fundraiser coming up August the 24th, and I do have some flyers and a few things for the commission. Our first fundraiser is at the Maryland Theater. It's a senior prom. We have most of our seniors that have never been to a prom. And so our first fundraiser is a senior prom, and people seem to be excited about it, so we hope that goes well. Those funds will go into a pot to generate finding us a building so we can start doing a little bit more out in the community, so we can have a place where I can have somebody to come help me with these meals if we can have a commercial kitchen. We're here today now is asking for assistance. We applied for a few grants with the commission, but we were not successful in getting those grants. One email was returned and said that we wasn't on the list, so I'm not sure what list we're supposed to be on to get grant funding. So now I'm here in person, so you can see that the elder group is out here in the community. We are servicing a lot out here in the community. We service 11,000 people so far in the community, whether it was feeding, finding housing, helping a person who's been evicted when the sheriff called and with allegations of abuse. We placed those persons in hotels. So we have had a lot of help from CAC, and we have had a lot of help from St. Mark's Church. This is what CAC has helped us with rental assistance, trying to get persons in housing. And St. Mark's Church has helped us because when we rescue persons, we have nowhere to place them, so we have to place them in hotels. And that is not ideal because the few times we did place them in hotels, something did happen. So we need to get a facility at some point where we can house persons for short term till we can find a long-term solution.
What I can do is I can give you my business card, and I can put you in touch with our grants management department to find out what paperwork you need to complete to get on to the eligible list of businesses that would be, or nonprofits that would be eligible for grant funding. So let me give you my business card, and then if you can reach out to me, we'll work together with grant management to find out what's going on with your eligibility.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you for your attention. I do have a few copies of flyers and things that we've done out in the community. I didn't print enough. I'll make sure they get copies. All right, thank you so much. And thank y'all for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Peak.
Thank you so much.
Okay, last call for citizens' participation. No one else this morning? With that, we'll move right on into contract award PUR 1669, comprehensive health care services for inmates.
Good morning, Brandy Nagelfire in the purchasing department.
Major Craig Rowe, Warden, Washington County Detention Center.
The first recommendation I have for you this morning is the contract award PUR 1669, comprehensive health care services for inmates. Move to award the contract to the lowest responsible proposer, Prime Care Medical, out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for a total proposal based on monthly average inmate population of 400 in the amount of $3,998,188.91. Pricing was requested for an additional 50 inmates over the average daily population of 450 for proposal evaluation purposes, for a total of $4,016,073.91. The amount budgeted for FY25 was $2,898,000. So we're also asking for approval for a budget transfer in the amount of $955,910. Proposals for these services were received from potential vendors on April 3rd, 2024. The contract term is for a period of 1 year commencing July 1st, 2024, with the option by the county to renew up to 4 consecutive 1-year periods. Annual price increases and decreases to cover contract years 2 through 5 will be based on the United States Daily Average Medical Cost Consumer Price Index published by the U.S. Department of Labor. The request for proposal was advertised in the local newspaper, the State of Maryland's Maryland Marketplace, the county's website. 36 firms downloaded the document. We did receive 3 proposals, 2 of which were deemed non-responsive by the committee working on this particular project. Again, we're asking for permission to approve the award and for the budget transfer.
And I was going to say, I just want to clarify that the $955,000, $910 budget transfer that they're asking for is for fiscal year 25's budget that we're about to approve or that we're going to discuss today. They included an increase in the fiscal year '25 budget, but that increase that they included was not enough. So they do have a shortfall in the budget that we're looking at right now today to be approved. So the budget transfer that we have recommended would be to reduce our transfers to the CIP fund by $955,910 and to increase the budget for the detention center to cover the cost of this medical service, something that we're required to do by state mandate based on the contract that we received.
So it would be, to summarize this, your health care for the inmates went up $1 million. So from what you were used to paying, and the reason for that is just inflation or?
Yeah.
So it went up $1 million.
Yeah, we just come out with a 5-year contract, so 5 years ago pricing, and then the increases annually.
Okay.
And this is something that I've said repeatedly during budget discussions over the last year and a half. You know, we're reducing our transfers to our CIP fund, and we've continued over the years to defer some of our capital and maintenance projects, particularly for roads and buildings. And this is just a further reduction in that critical need that we have in our CIP fund.
Motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is bid award PUR 1682, grounds maintenance for various county departments.
Randy Nagelfire in the purchasing department.
George Schweitzer, Superintendent, Blackhawk Golf Course.
The next recommendation I have for you is the bid award 1682, grounds maintenance chemicals for various county departments. Move to award the contract for grounds maintenance chemicals for various county departments to the responsive vendor Genesis Turfrest out of Glen Rock, Pennsylvania. The county accepted bids on May 1st, 2024. The invitation to bid was listed on the eMaryland Marketplace website, the county's website, and a local paper. 11 companies downloaded the document, and we did receive 4 bids. 3 of the 4 were deemed non-responsive because the bidders did not submit their proposals on the correct form. The contract provides the need for chemicals for the Black Rock Golf Course, County Highway Department, and the Department of Water Quality. The City of Hagerstown may also utilize this contract. The contract term is for a period of 1 year, commencing July 1st, 2024, ending on June 30th, 2025. Funding is available in the various accounts for these operations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next item, bid award PUR 1670, electrician services at county facilities.
Randy Nagelfire in the purchasing department.
Danny Hickson, Deputy Director of Public Works.
The last recommendation I have for you this morning is the bid award 1670, electrician services for county facilities. Move to award the bid for electrician services to the responsible bidder, MEC Incorporated Electrical Services out of Hagerstown, Maryland, who submitted the lowest total base bid amount of $61,450. This is based on an hourly rate formula contained in the bid, which was dated May 7, 2024. The contract for electrician services is provided on an as-needs basis only. The contractor shall provide all permits, equipment, labor, supplies, tools, transportation, and landfill user fees necessary for service and repairs for all electrical equipment and systems. In addition to Washington County facilities, service are also provided to Washington County Health Department, Hagerstown Housing Authority, the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts, the Commission on Aging, and the Washington County Free Library. The contract is for a period of 1 year commencing July 1st, 2024, with the option for the county to renew up to 4 consecutive 1-year periods. On May 8th, 2024, the county accepted bids. It was advertised in a local newspaper, the county's website, and eMaryland Marketplace. 19 companies downloaded the bid document, and we did receive 3 bids. Funding is available for these services in
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. 5-0. Next item, approval of modified charges, rentals, and fees at the Hagerstown Regional Airport for FY 2025.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer.
Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works, covering for Neil this morning, who's at a conference.
We're here today to seek approval of the modified charges, rentals, and fees at the Hagerstown Regional Airport for fiscal year '25. Included in the fee schedule is an approximately 4% increase in T-hangar rental charges, which is necessary to maintain compliance with fair market value and grant assurance required by FAA, and the addition of a terminal ground parking fee. Attached to your ARF is the modified fee schedule as was presented last week. So today, we're just seeking approval.
Everything's staying the same pretty much, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Except for, their standard raises, yeah.
Correct.
The parking fee.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approval of water and sewer rates FY 2025.
Mark Bradshaw, Director of Environmental Management.
We're before you today to seek approval for the proposed water and sewer rate schedule for fiscal years '25 through '27. The Commissioners did conduct a public hearing on May 7th and heard public testimony, if any, concerning the proposed modification of water and sewer rates. The presented rate schedules as attached to the ARF provide rates for the next 3 years. Having set rates for multiple years will provide clear direction for the budget, as well as letting ratepayers know what to expect. The percent increase for FY '25 for sewer rates is it 6%? And for water, it was 5.6%. And again, we're seeking approval for all 3 years.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and 2 seconds for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of FY 2025 operating and capital budgets.
Before you again to ask for approval to adopt the proposed FY '25 operating capital budget as presented. The Board of County Commissioners conducted a public hearing on May 15th at 6 p.m. and heard public testimony on the proposed FY '25 operating and capital budgets. The fiscal year '25 budget process has been a collaborative effort where the Office of Budget and Finance worked alongside departments, administration, and the Board of County Commissioners. The FY '25 final proposed budget increased 8.97% over FY '24 and provides increased funding for education to transition EMS services to county operations, additional funding to outside organizations, as well as funding to our capital plan to meet the county's infrastructure needs. The final budget adoption for today includes the adjustment in the general fund of $955,910 from the transfer to capital reserve into the detention center budget to address the shortfall for the inmate medical services contract. All other budgets remain unchanged from what was presented during the public hearing last week. Total budget for fiscal year '25 is $434,097,440.
Motion to approve the budget is submitted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Ready to vote?
A comment, would there be any interest? I put forward this last year, and I'd like to do it again. Our revenues seem to be historically projected far under where they actually come in, and I would be interested in making an adjustment for both the Commission on Aging and the Board of Ed, maybe not the full amount they're requesting, but some additional. And any interest from my fellow commissioners?
Personally, I've spoken about this, I might as well go out on the limb here, sorry, people, is that, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we just heard, I guess, Commission on Aging first, we have an elder group who service 11,000 elderly people, and I sort of agree with Mr. Thorson, who spoke earlier. It's sort of, very disturbing that you're not supposed to speak publicly what you hear. And it's also very disturbing that there isn't more maybe potential collaboration. I just see way too many red flags that, and too many censorings that, and I'm not, they do a good job. I won't take that from Commission on Aging, but there's just a way that you can't tell me that big operation can't afford to feed the elderly. I just can't buy that. This lady cooked 7,000 meals alone. Come on. It's just, I could just go on forever about that. So no, I'm not interested this time. Now, what I'll do for the board and what I personally will do, so somebody can talk me into it, is I'm treading cautiously here anyway. We just saw $1 million shortfall on an insurance premium for the health insurance for the detention center. We've seen just so many things that pop the rear its ugly head. We're taking out everybody wants a tax increase. Well, not everybody. I've had 20 people say they want a tax increase. I did it before. It was strictly for emergency services. And I think the school board is just as important as any organization. But let this sit in for a while. Not one department we have anywhere got, back to Commission, we got a 10% raise. Commission on Aging is getting 10% raise in their budget, correct? Fact check me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, jump on me. But, and I have administrators in my family. I have teachers in my family. I get it. But I am not willing, really, me personally, do anything until I weigh it out. Come September. There's nothing says we can't do something 6 months from now, a year from now. I personally, I feel for, with the Kerwin coming and everything, I feel for, we're going to get hammered. And, everybody says, crying wolf, Randy, things are going to get bad. Well, maybe they won't. I hope they don't get bad. I hope everybody, but I'm not raising taxes for everybody who says, we need more money. We need more money. So now I just raise taxes. We did it to build we got a lot of first responder things coming at us too. I can go on a list forever. We have first responders. We've already seen cuts. HCC was cut by this administration. Our POS has been cut by this administration. I-81 has been cut by this administration. Washington County Public Schools have been cut by this administration. I get it. We need a courthouse. We need a jail. We need a patrol division. The Kerwin's coming. I could go on forever, but, I think everybody gets my point. So maybe I am the bad guy. I don't know, but I'm treading cautiously.
Brandy, I agree that more collaboration would be good. If only we can get over that bad lunch you had. Maybe seniors wouldn't go.
It's not about bad. I'm
no,
I'm a 73-year-old person, Wayne.
And I'm the youngest person on this board.
Maybe we ought to get over promises we make.
And I'm the youngest person on this board, and I'm advocating for senior citizens.
You'll get wiser when you're 73 and look at it a little better.
I hope not as wise as you, Randy.
So I don't want to argue about it. That's just my position. If you guys can sway me different, okay.
Kelsey, the last couple of budget cycles, we've had an 8-figure surplus for the last several years. And I believe a recent email from you a couple weeks ago was pointing to another 8-figure surplus for this current fiscal year 24 that ends June 30th. If there is additional money, what you're projecting holds true, that money couldn't be applied towards, or it could be applied towards something operating, but then we have to come up with a way to maintain that in future years, correct?
Our financial policy prohibits our use of fund balance for operating.
Okay, so Kelsey, if we do end up with another 8-figure surplus for the umpteenth year in a row, what can we do with that?
One-time
in
capital
terms
costs.
of what the Commission on Aging is asking for and the Board of Education is asking for.
One-time capital costs. That's what our policy dictates.
So, I'm at a loss because, again, we continue to under-project revenues. I think that's the real story here with our budget. And I don't place blame on anyone. It's just, the numbers paint that picture, share that story. And when we have a $20, $30 million surplus like we've had in recent years, that spending doesn't get the same level of conversation. And that's money that we could be helping people in our community. Dr. Michael and I have disagreed on some things in the past, and I think he's already gone for today, but, he spoke some truth about the great things and events that we talk about doesn't impact everyone in our community. And I say half is probably a stretch even of the good things that happen in our community. I'm amazed at that. My family has taken in foster children over the years, and it wasn't a surprise. It's not the first time I'm hearing that students in our school don't have beds to sleep in, and that's causing issues in our school system. And I think when we under-project revenues, we're missing that opportunity where we could help with some of those issues. That issue is far-reaching beyond Washington County. It's not a Washington County concern. I think it's probably more of a breakdown in society that we're not going to solve here alone. But with all due respect to some of my fellow commissioners, I have more years ahead in this community, and I'm worried. It concerns me. I have a daughter that's getting ready to start school. 2 years will be here before you know it. And what will she face in the school system? I hope I'm blessed to live a long life. It's not guaranteed for any of us. But when we do reach that age and we need those services, maybe family's not there to help us, or we need those services, family can't support us for whatever reason, we can help with that. And, to the area agency on aging is our Commission on Aging. In some communities, it's an arm of county government. Our highway department's an arm of county government. We wouldn't ask them to fundraise, but we did ask the Commission on Aging to fundraise, and I think they've done a fairly good job with that so far. I think what the gentleman, Mr. Thorson, was referring to is he doesn't speak on behalf of the Commission on Aging. He's a board member of the advisory committee appointed by this commission, but he doesn't speak as a board member. He doesn't speak for the commission, excuse me. He doesn't speak on behalf of them as an official voice. At a time, some of the efficiencies that were discussed was having the county take over human resources for the Commission on Aging at a time where we were about a year without an HR director. And some of the turnover that we've had in this organization, I just don't feel makes us adapt to providing those services or those salaries that would come along as a government employee. I think we can do more, and I think we should. But
Could I ask?
Why belabor it?
Yeah, could I ask a question then on, the MACO, our county financial briefing meetings that we had last year? I remember attending those because I was trying to learn as much as I could about the budget process. And they said that if our financial officers were within 3 to 5% of their projections, that they were doing a superb job. So on a $434 million budget, a 4%, being within 4% would be maybe having a $16 million overage. And the policy is in place, I'm just going through this, and because we do rely at the end of the year for those, whatever that difference is, to go into these funds. Might go into the pension fund to make up, some of the deficit we have there, which is, $40 or $50 million. So that's one of the things you didn't mention.
Right. There's
Randy.
plenty of, $16 million, not a lot of money in this game of $460 million.
Yeah, so now that said, I have spent, last year I had addressed these issues over and over again, trying to look at revenue versus needs and the panoply of requirements we have here. And I've heard from all these places we go where we meet people, I'm asking the question all the time, how are things in the county? What needs to be fixed? What do you think about taxes? What do you think about schools? Have you heard about the requirements and the requests from Commission on Aging? I ask those questions all the time going around the county, whether it's at a fair or, a fire hall meeting or a pancake breakfast, okay, at a Ruritan. So I don't, and I asked people about whether or not elected officials or representatives of unions would be supportive of any increases in taxes. Never got a yes.
Actually, Commissioner Harvey, I was at a Commission on Aging, we were at the Commission on Aging together during last year's fiscal year, and we spoke with the director. And I believe your offer to her was support for the Commission on Aging's request if she came out in support of a tax increase. And she told you as a nonprofit, she can't get involved in the politics of that.
Well, in her case,
So,
yes.
okay, so maybe other nonprofits may be at risk of losing their 501c3 status if they advocate on a political basis. But she's advocating for her seniors. That's our job to decide that. But maybe that's inappropriate to say, we'll give you money if you come out and support a tax increase. So just think about that. There may have been perfectly valid reasons why an organization can't speak up for a tax increase or the political side of things. Just food for thought.
Elected officials, school board members, et cetera. Okay. So anyways, I remain very concerned. I've heard everything from Carolyn and Dr. Sabine and school board members. My personal view is, as we have done it here, we try to take care of our people first. Take care of our
We cut our own budget
employees
$14 million.
in order to take care of our people.
We've cut our own
Okay,
budget $14
and
million.
I would say again that before you add new positions, before you add new headquarters staff, before you start new programs, you need to begin with the baseline of taking care of your personnel first. And if the concern is about, teacher salaries and competitiveness, if that's the issue, you need to take care of your personnel first, in my view. And that's up to the superintendent, to put that as the number one priority, because everything begins with having a great team and good personnel, and you got to take care of them.
If I could offer one more comment, Commissioner Harvey, you had mentioned about coming in within a certain percentage of our budget. These are numbers that were supplied to me a couple weeks ago by our finance department. They're in a spreadsheet. I haven't fact checked them myself. I'm gonna take our finance department for their accuracy. But looking at last year's fiscal year 23, original budgeted revenue projection versus what was actual at the end of their, I suppose, audit. The variance was just round up to 42 million, 41,967,000. Looking at Frederick County, their revenue projection, they were off $18 million. Let's round up, $18.6 million. Our variance in revenue projection was almost 16%. Their variance, Frederick County's variance in revenue projection was 2.35%.
Right.
I think that's significant.
And overall budget, when you go and you look at what we had in excess at the end of the year, our balance was increased, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, was because we're not able to spend some of the money because of the inflationary costs on a lot of the purchases and things, so we deferred those purchases.
Those are just revenue projection.
I know that. I'm just saying, but overall. So anyways, I've said my piece on this. Thank you.
We had a motion?
I'm going to tread on being cautious, to quote Mr. Wagner. We've cut our wish list from our 21 departments, $14 million. We need to do more than 40 miles of road a year. We need to look at our bridges. We have heavy equipment at the landfill, the dump trucks, all the stuff that we've put off. We've tightened our belt by cutting $14 million out of our 21 departments, and I'm going to support the budget as presented, but that's not saying I wouldn't consider any of Commissioner Kiefer's or school board's requests for the Commission on Aging in the future. Always open to entertain that.
Okay. Did we have a motion?
Yeah, we have a motion and a
We
second.
have a first and a motion and a second. Ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm a no. 3-2.
Why, you did, are you a no?
Yes.
Why? I just want to hear your remarks.
Number of reasons. I think it's been very well stated here for the last 5-6 months. Tremendous need in our community. We heard it again today with children sleeping on floors, and yet we're not willing to help ourselves by.
Can you have a funding mechanism? And this is reoccurring. Do we have a funding mechanism for this?
Well, I think the first and foremost is we need to reinstate, and I've said this before publicly, we need to reinstate the income tax back to the 3.2 where it was before it was cut under the last administration.
Well, you know, we did that and was cut the next, we did it in good faith, and then it was voted against and it was set back down. So you could use that as an argument too. Nothing's forever. I mean, don't get me wrong. First responders, schools, that's great with me. I'm willing, like Commissioner Klein said, I'm willing to take a peek at this later, but I'm not going to do it right now.
Yeah, one of the things we did do, not to interrupt, we did increase the Community Office of Funding, COF, $200,000 extra to cover some shortfall in requests. So that's something we did do good at. Now, that's something we could consider in the future, too, to help a lot of these organizations, such as the Older Group. So that's something I would think about, how to solve some of these problems that you mentioned.
Again, obviously, it's a lot of good conversation here. There's a tremendous need in our community. We've squandered the disparity grant opportunities, and you might say that that's seasonal. It's not always guaranteed, but there's no doubt about in the last 3 years where the disparity grant was not maximized to its potential for our community. And I've said over and over and over that I find it very difficult to go to Annapolis and ask for funding for whatever event, whatever good cause in our community when sometimes I don't feel like we've fully helped ourselves. I am concerned. We talk here about, come the 1st of September when the budget is adjusted and when there is general needs at the school board, whatever funds that we may have come September 1st can only be used for one-time capital projects. So there's a delta there in that conversation. So,
If I could just share here, I appreciate your sentiment, Commissioner Barr, and I think we're closer together than we are far apart on this issue. I think the revenue source may be the sticking point. And again, just sharing information that was given to me by our staff, and I take it at face value that it's accurate. I shared in fiscal year 23, we under projected revenues by 15.97%. Frederick County, 2.35%. In fiscal year 22, we under budgeted revenues by 19.07%. Frederick County under budgeted their revenues by 4.28%. Fiscal year 21, we under budgeted our revenues by 24.63%. Frederick County under budgeted their revenues by 5.91%. So even if the disturbances of COVID, has been talked about as a reason why our budget has fluctuated, why are they able to do it and we're not? We like to compare ourselves to Frederick County for salaries. The Board of Ed compares themselves to Frederick County for salaries. We do as well. Let's compare ourselves to their budget.
Okay, well, I think,
Well, Mr. Barr, I think one of the things is that we shouldn't be exploring new options, whether it's for a tax or a new initiative for funding or a policy on how we fund, when we're at the final day of voting on a budget. I think the time for that on the agenda is probably earlier.
We had presented that budget weeks ago, and no one said a word. Now, all of a sudden, nobody wants to vote for it. But anyway, we got a vote.
You're saying I've not spoken a word about underfunding our budget revenues?
The last presentation to take it to public hearing, did you say a word? No, go back in the minutes and look.
But you're
anyway,
saying I haven't spoken a word until today about under
the
budgeting
last
our revenues?
presentation of the budget to us.
I've been talking about this for over a year now.
Commission on Aging, that's what you've been talking about.
Last year, I spoke about this too, under budgeting our revenues.
On Aging.
And the Commission on Aging and the Board of Ed. Yeah, I have been talking about it for quite a while now, Randy.
But we had a chance, I'm going to let it go after this. We had a chance as a group of commissioners to talk to Kelsey when that budget was presented 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
So Randy, what you're saying is once we get a budget wrapped up and ready for the public to comment on it, we're not listening to the public because it's already decided at that point. So why have the public budget here?
We had a chance to hash it out. We didn't do that.
I think what Randy is saying is if you had a plan, it should have been presented publicly over a month ago.
I did last year. I spoke about the same
But you
thing.
didn't provide any financial details. Where's the money coming from? Who you're cutting? What roads won't you pay? How salaries you won't give to our
Commissioner Klein, do not put those words in my mouth. I never said anything about cutting.
You're always commenting that you're getting information from staff. You're selectively embellishing this information to prove your point.
This isn't my information.
You should have, over a month ago, worked with us one-on-one and come up with your plan, how it was going to be funded. You admit you've been with staff all the time getting information. So why didn't you present information to us to persuade or give us the information?
You won't give me the time of day when I mention Commission on Aging.
gentlemen,
That's why.
But the vote's done.
I gotta say, I've called for a vote. The vote is 3-2.
Let's move on.
And I think we should put an end to the,
Very good comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Okay, next item is National Public Works Week. We
Thought you retired.
We're dragging this out as
You
long
just
as we
keep
can.
coming in.
Keep coming back. Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works.
Kevin Cerrone, Director of Transit.
This morning, we wanted to take a little bit of time to recognize that this week, May 19th through the 25th, is National Public Works Week, and the theme is Advancing Quality of Life for All, which I think is very appropriate for what many of our employees do in public works each day, whether that's our highway department maintaining our roads or our park staff making sure the pavilions are well maintained for that family gathering. Or in Kevin's case, transit drivers making sure that people can go to the places that they need throughout their day. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to recognize all the employees across Washington County and their contributions, but also take some time to recognize the specific contributions of retiring Transit Director Kevin Cerrone. Kevin will be retiring on June 28th after 28 years of service to Washington County. During that time, Kevin has faithfully served the citizens of Washington County. Some of his notable contributions during that time including doubling the ridership as well as the fleet, establishing new service programs, and spearheading the development and construction of the Transit Transfer Center. And I think you'll hear a little bit more about that later in a proclamation. But on behalf of Washington County Public Works and the departments, we did want to present to you this little bus plaque. You could thank Jamie for tracking that down and some of the staff members for putting that together. It does say retired and headed to Wilmington, North Carolina. So thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So a few more days, Randy.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I take
Not that we want to see you
Certainly.
leave.
Yeah.
I'll go.
He's smiling. Pretty, yeah.
So if I could just make a couple comments here.
After 28 years with Washington County Transit, it has been an absolute pleasure working for the Board of County Commissioners, the current and past administrative staff of Washington County government, along with the employees of the transit system and my colleagues across the state of Maryland and beyond. I could not have imagined I would experience such a successful career in the public transit arena when I began in 1996. Were there dings and dents along the way? Oh, yeah. Were there bumps and bruises, too? Yeah. But each were met with a challenge to heal and improve. Sitting idle was never an option. The dedication of employees of Washington County government to push forward the direction and desires of the Board of County Commissioners is amazing. I cannot express enough the gratitude to those responsible for my own success and the success of public transportation in Washington County. It takes a village of many great people with many great ideas contributing to the success every day. I have no doubt Washington County Transit will successfully continue under a new leader, one that ensures a smooth transition, one who will continue the successes yet envision and implement changes for the future. That leader will be Mr. Anthony Napoli. Anthony will be with us beginning next week. I want to give a special thank you to Andrew Eshelman for standing by me when the times were tough, as well as sharing in the successes. I am grateful to everyone who was part of my journey, allowing my wife and I to punch our ticket and ride into the next chapter of our lives. I wish everyone the best. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually have two proclamations, one for Public Works Week and one for Mr. Cerrone.
Okay.
We haven't officially retired yet, so we'll do the public work.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll let you hold that. Thank you, gentlemen. On behalf of the county commissioners, we'd like to present this Public Works Week, May 19th through May 25th, 2024, Advancing Quality of Life for All. Say that again, advancing quality of life for all the citizens of our community. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities in the public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of our citizens. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, these guys, who are engineers, managers, and employees of all levels of government in the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in our community to gain knowledge of them and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. Now therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, Maryland, hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Public Works Week. We urge all citizens of Washington County to join us in celebrating our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the sustainable contributions they make to protecting our health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yours is longer, got 28 years worth. Actually, guys, won't you all come on up for this one?
You guys going up?
Yeah, come on up. This man's dedicated 28 years to.
I don't know if I dedicated it, but I've been here 28 years.
Hop in there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Klein's lagging behind.
You get next to him. I don't get the awards.
On behalf of the Commissioners, we'd like to present this proclamation to Kevin Cerrone, resolution of appreciation for 28 years of service. Kevin began his career with Washington County government on March 25th, 1996, as a transit manager. And whereas during his employment, Kevin led the Washington County Transit Department for 28 years, and during that time, growing the ridership from 250,000 per year to a peak of 520,000 per year. Whereas during those years, Kevin has served as leadership positions on the following boards and commissions: Transportation Association of Maryland, Hagerstown Eastern Panhandle Metropolitan Planning Organization, Washington County Disability Advisory Committee, MTA Western Maryland Transportation Coordination Planning Committee, Maryland Statewide Transit Bus Specification Committee, and the Washington County Department of Social Services implementation of the Hopewell Express Service Planning Committee. And whereas Kevin achieved the designation of Certified Community Transit Manager, directed and produced as a bus safety video titled 50 Seconds, recognized by the National Rural Transit Assistance Program, and became an inductee to the Transportation Association of Maryland Hall of Fame. And whereas during his career with Washington County, Kevin did enhance the life and service of the citizens of the community, demonstrated with the development and construction of the Transit Transfer Center. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners, Washington County, Maryland, hereby offer our most sincerest appreciation and best wishes in the recognition of Kevin Cerrone's retirement as the Director of Transit with Washington County Government. Thank you.
Here, here.
Great. Thank you. Would you like one with all the public works?
I know.
Wait, don't go anywhere. We're going to bring up the public works. Sure, let's go, if you don't mind.
Since I'm the little one.
Okay, that's perfect. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to. Yeah, we're just south of Wilmington.
You gonna buy a sailboat?
Not sailboat, no, but a boat, absolutely. Thanks, Lee. Shooting 20 million.
Is that right? Oh, geez, you're not wasting any
We
time.
just got next London for a situation. Did you realize?
Okay, the next item is previously authorized runway 09-27 lighting and signage project. Approval of purchase order and task order for ADCI Construction Phase Services.
Good morning again, Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works. Here seeking a recommended motion to authorize the airport director's approval of a purchase and task order related to ADCI Construction Phase Services in the amount of $131,720 for the runway 927 lighting and signage project. This is a bit of a housekeeping item. So this project, ADCI performs both the design services as well as the construction administrative phase services. The construction project was awarded and all the grant package as well at a previous meeting, but we do need to make sure we have specific approval in order to execute this construction phase service task order. This cost was included in all the prior budget presentations for the project and the grant award. Again, just seeking specific approval for that task. I do want to point out that the funding source is actually, there's a CIP project specific to this Runway 927 project, and it should be budget account RUN 022, not 020. Are there any questions?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, next item is application for zoning text amendment, RZ 23-001. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jill Baker, Director of the Department of Planning and Zoning. As stated, this is a text amendment to the county zoning ordinance regarding convenience stores and where they can be located and the amenities explicitly outlined within the ordinance. You'll recall that we've had several public hearings regarding this issue. We received a great deal of comment, both written and oral. The Planning Commission has also taken testimony as part of their public input meeting, and we're here today to seek approval or denial, a decision on this matter. That's all I have.
Okay, I'd like to make an amendment suggestion, put up for vote. On the convenience stores, I would like to see a limit on the number of high-flow fuel stations for trucks, and I recommend 2 changes to this amendment that, if passed, will be included, and we'll vote on it today to bring this to an end. First one is that no more than 5 high-flow fuel stations for a convenience store in a highway interchange for semi-trucks, okay? That would allow them to fuel 10 trucks at a time. That's,
I don't think it's 10 trucks. I think it's 10, because they have a gas station on each side. I'm sorry, a tank on each side, so it's 10 stations.
it's 5 high-flow fuel lanes.
Lanes, which would be 10 pumps,
You have
correct?
a master and a slave
Correct.
in that situation, so that's.
So it's 5 lanes, 10 pumps. Is that what you mean? Yes.
Well, you can't, excuse me, if you go to one of those on the slave side, you can't use that pump unless the
Okay.
other one's running.
Okay.
So that just.
So you're talking just 5 lanes, right?
5 lanes. 5 lanes.
Right, 5 lanes.
That's what I want to
Right.
clarify.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, you're mixing
Right,
words there.
that's, and the second, so that's 5 lanes, and then on highway interchange, there's no limit for the number of fuel lanes for cars, and if you had, I looked at Sheets, I've looked at Royal, the new ones along the highways, they're between 6 and 8, which allows you to fuel 2 cars on both sides of those pumps. So if you had, I would recommend no more than 8, which would allow you to fuel 32 cars at one time.
That's 8 islands. They call it.
8 islands, right. No more than 8 islands.
And this doesn't affect anything in progress?
Doesn't affect anything in progress.
And that would be for automobiles or
Right.
trucks?
That would be for automobiles, and 5 lanes for the high-flow fuel for semi-trucks.
And this is in the highway interchange.
In the highway interchange only. And that's the only, those are the 2, the motion is to have no more than 8 fuel islands for cars and no more than 5 high-flow fuel lanes for semi-trucks.
Do we have a limit on automobiles in the non-highway interchange? I don't think we do.
No, we don't.
So I would think we would need to put a limit there as well. If you're putting a limit,
Like in rural business, you mean?
yeah.
What is,
Well, I make it 8 across the board.
8 across the board, no more than 8 on either.
okay.
Okay.
I can't support that. After our last discussion on this, I met with the owner of AC&T, and we went to one of his truck stops, and when you open up, and he talked about how, there's business out there to be had. When you open up a truck stop, even if it's a mini truck stop, with a small number of pumps, you can create unintended consequences where you have trucks in queue because there's not enough lanes that back up onto the on-off ramps. And that's some of the concerns that we've heard from citizens that have to deal with that. When you have a mini truck stop, it can't meet the capacity, but obviously there's a need to get in line to get fuel. That creates a backup on the ramp, and that creates some issues accessing properties. Have you thought that through?
Yes, I have.
Having a small truck stop still going to attract truckers.
Are you calling it a truck stop now instead of a convenience store?
I've never not called it a truck stop.
Okay, well,
It's going to create some backup issues.
the average truck stop has 7 fuel lanes. The average truck stop has 7 fuel lanes.
I'd agree with that, what I've seen, or more, actually.
No, but the average has 7.
Yeah, I think Love's has 7.
So if the average is 7 and you want to scale it back to 5, that's not a truck stop?
It can,
I don't think he's defining truck stop.
I'm not defining, that's for the next iteration. This is a convenience store, and we need to have an upper limit. And they have parking.
there's no limits right now is what you're
Right,
trying to.
and there's no limits.
Yeah.
And if you make it larger, you're definitely crossing over into truck stop territory.
Summarize.
So my summary is 5 high-flow fuel lanes for trucks and no more than 8 islands for cars
And highway
across the board.
Across the board.
Across the board in the
Okay.
county. And that's the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Ready to vote?
Yep.
All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
You see,
Motion to approve this overall? Because that was the amendment.
yeah, if it's.
It's approved with the amendments.
Oh, approved with the amendment. Okay,
yeah.
good. Thank you.
Okay, next item is application for zoning text amendment RZ 23-003. Jill?
Good afternoon, again, Jill Baker, Director of the Department of Planning and Zoning. This is, again, a text amendment to the Washington County zoning ordinance pertaining to truck stop and its definition. It also includes the amendment to allow the use only as a conditional use or what we call a special exception within the highway interchange zone. Again, this would just be a revision to the definition, that change. That's all I have. Oh, well, I should say, we've had, again, multiple public hearings on this. The Planning Commission has had their own public information meeting. Again, we have received a great deal of public comment, both written and oral. The Planning Commission has recommended adoption.
Is this just consensus, or is this a vote?
This is a vote.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval.
Just a comment, I'll be voting no. I want to go back to when our meeting opened up, Commissioner Harvey, you spoke about how when this agenda item was going to come up, I made a note somewhere, you mentioned that you're concerned that people from the Williamsport community were speaking about the truck stop at Exit 1, which was a done deal. While that was certainly a majority of people in opposition, some of those people from Williamsport spoke out a couple years ago when there was a truck stop being planned in the Beaver Creek area. So I think it underscores this isn't about one project, but it's about how this could transform our community. Creating that increased on-off truck traffic in our community create safety hazards on I-81. And I just don't know how we can honestly look the governor in the eyes and say, 81's a safety concern, we need funding, when we continue to contribute to that safety concern. So it's not, you're right, it's not just about the project planned at Exit 1 in Williamsport, but many of those same people were concerned about truck stops in other parts of the county as well for the same reason, and certainly people in those communities. And I am fearful that if this passes, and it will pass, it's clear, again, just wait for that, wait for those changes to come down the road and impact our community negatively.
What is the point? Because they can do truck stops now, right?
Yes, sir.
Special exception.
Special exception.
It gives an opportunity, for citizens to speak out about a concern if it has to go before the BZA, but it just creates more opportunities for this type of business, this type of industry, and the negative ramifications it can have on our communities and in our neighborhoods. If the votes are there, they're there, but I'm a no.
Okay, we have,
But does this change, what does this actually change? It just clarified the language of what a truck stop is.
Yes, correct,
That's the only thing we're changing here.
correct.
We're not changing
First and a second.
process at all.
It's still a special exception.
But if a truck stop, if now the definition has been changed and it fits the mold a little better for the developers that are putting these truck stops in place, it makes it easier for that project to be pushed through. It does make a difference.
You have first and second call.
okay. Ready to vote? Have a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Michelle, Leslie's not here. Do we want to go farming,
Take a 5-minute recess. Let me go grab her.
please? 5-minute recess, gentlemen. You're in charge.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sorry for the delay. A phone call kept me tied up. Leslie Hart, Washington County Department of Business and Economic Development. I'm here this morning to present the Faces of Farming campaign, which you're very familiar with. we feature 2 every month. And Washington County has over 869 operating family farms with $167 million in market value of products sold. Before I announce the 2 farms today, I just want to remind everyone that farmers markets are beginning to open. I encourage you to visit local, purchase local whenever you can. Today's farms that we have are 2. One is a Shank Farm of Hagerstown, and the other one is the Brookmeadow Farm of Fairplay, Maryland. PR, if you can roll that beautiful Faces of Farming footage.
My name's Tom Shank. We're here at Rocky Spring Farm outside of Funkstown, Maryland. Originally it was a dairy farm and we transitioned from dairy to beef to now, as time went on, grain. My role here at the farm is basically the farm manager. I make sure that all the crops get planted and taken care of.
This farm was purchased in the 40s by our great-grandfather. He farmed with his son, John S. Shank, and then it continued the tradition with John S. Shank II, followed by me, John S. Shank III, and my brother Thomas Shank. My brother and I purchased the farm in 2017 with Marbidco and working through them with the Next Generation Farmers. It is also in ag land preservation. That was part of our program that we utilized it. So the farm is preserved. We try to implement as many conservation programs that are available to us through farm services and soil conservation.
Growing up here, obviously, like most kids that grow up on a farm, you have a passion for it and it sticks with you. My son, JW, John William, is living here on the farm as well, and he is very small, but he still participates. He loves his tractor rides, going out with his dad, and spending time in the tractor planting crops and taking care of the ground.
I feel agriculture is important on all aspects because someone needs to raise the food that we're going to eat, whether it's the meat you eat, the grain you have in your bread or your cereal. We need to have sustainability. We need to have conservation. Technology is going to change, definitely, and we'll be able to do it smarter, faster, and quicker. But you still need the land, and you still need to be able to provide for the future.
My name is Robbie Shaw. We are in Fairplay, Maryland, and we're on Brookside Farm. This farm was purchased by my grandfather in 1942, and my dad farmed. We dairied right here behind me for years. We sold the milk cows in the year 2000, January of 2000, and we decided that we were going to get into the show cattle business. So we were able to keep all the farms, keep the show cows, keep the flush cows, and that's what we've been doing.
Well, I was born with a love of farm. I have no idea why, but I never had any intentions in my life to do anything but farm. Now, what I did a lot of other things because farming does not always pay. And we started in 1962, borrowed $12,000 and put together a 20 cow herd and enough machinery to scrape by and a welder to keep it going.
My dad takes care of the crops and the pastures and things like that down on his farm. The dairy we rent out to a young man named Gilson Eby. He's been here for 23 years, done very well. He's an organic farmer, so Brookside is an organic farm as well. My daughter has also gotten into the show cattle side of things. So my grandfather, my dad, myself, and my daughter all have shown jerseys for the past 70 years. We are very fortunate in Washington County, Maryland, to have such a diverse lot of agriculture. Everything from milk, meat, poultry, eggs, truck farming, orchards, you name it, it's here. Agriculture is the most noble of industries. There's no question whatsoever. We all need to eat. And whether we eat local or whether we go to our local grocery store to eat, that food has to be produced by a farmer somewhere, whether it's Washington County, Maryland, or whether it's California. Support farmers.
I'll just leave you with one thought before I go. Those cows are very spoiled. And if you noticed, they were blow drying the cow. That whole back line of a cow is extremely important in the show ring. So the cows are used to being groomed and manicured and blow dried and get conditioner and all kinds of things. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks, Leslie. Okay. With that, it ends our regular open session. Do we have a motion to go into closed session for the reasons stated?
Motion to go in closed session.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.